Today I'm going to show you how to get leads on YouTube even if you don't have any subscribers at all, even if you have absolutely zero. Now the reason I can say this with such confidence is because YouTube client acquisition isn't just about views, even though that helps, isn't just about subscribers, even though that helps. It's about getting your viewers to trust you and then converting that trust to action. In this video, I'm going to show you how to gain your viewers' trust. We want them to be clients. And then how to leverage stories, whether that's your transformations, your client's transformations, or someone else's transformations in your content. And then create a CTA, call to action, in the middle of your video roughly of how to turn that viewer into a paying client. So let's go ahead and get to the first thing, which is necessarily your hook. It is your hook, the first 10 to 20 seconds deciding everything. It's not about how many followers you have. It's about, can I actually prove I know what I'm talking about? Without proof, you're basically invisible. For example, let's say if I start off this video with, hey, I'm going to show you how to get 1 million subscribers in a couple days. It's nothing. It's really nothing for me. But you look down and I don't have 1 million subscribers, or I didn't get someone else to 1 million subscribers, then what's the point? I'm not really showing off this proof that I have, this kind of why I have this confidence, right? So that's why we want to show proof. Because without proof, if you can't show you're credible within the first few seconds, nobody's gonna watch the rest of the video. We need them to watch the rest of the video to get to the CTA, which we'll get into, more in depth about in the future, in probably a couple minutes in this video. So every single day you're not establishing your authority is another day someone else is getting the leads that should be coming to you, and that's what we want to prevent, right? Now, how do you show this trust or this proof, and how do you even find your proof? Well, there's multiple ways that you can have proof. You can have access. So you can show off the proof through access. It's like, hey, I have proof that I know what I'm talking about because I know someone who's had that transformation, right? Or I've been in, doors, I've been in rooms, I should say, where this has happened, as well as knowledge. It's like, oh, I know what I'm talking about because let me show you I know what I'm talking about by talking about CTR, AVD, all these metrics and stats. Now that alone won't necessarily push you to that top 1%, but it's at least something, because you also need skill. You need to have demonstrated ability. The difference between knowledge and skill is application. And then you could also show off your personality, your unique perspective, and your opinion and your edge. So once we show off this proof that you have, we then gain trust, and then that will entice the viewer to keep watching. Now, the reason we want them to keep watching that phase right there is to then get them into the stories. Now, we want to use transformations, right, into your keys, principles. Let's say I have 3 keys, and key 2, I talk about how one of my clients went from 0 leads to 100 leads in 1 week. Well, I'm going to show you the situation they were in, where they were stuck at, what was at risk if nothing changed, and the tangible transformation that I could show off to you. Now, what's cool about stories is that based on your principle, you could show off not your story if you don't have any stories or transformations or anything like that, or any testimonials or anything like that. We could show off how that principle, that same principle that we're providing, worked for other people in that kind of niche or in that space. For example, how the principle of speaking dictated how Tony Robbins did this sale or had this impact on people. So the lesson is not the result, it's the pattern behind the result. We're not necessarily really wanting to show them the result, even though that's great, of what your client did. It's to prove that you know what you're talking about again. So you want to create authority, and that authority is built by recognizing patterns, not just giving blatant advice. And we want to show off that we know what we're talking about by showing off these transformations. Now, next is creating lead generating CTAs. Now, how do we do that? Well, the first thing we need to do, and there's a 3-part framework here, we need to connect the CTA to what you're discussing firstly. We don't just want it to come out of nowhere, just be like, hey, go ahead and buy my course, this and that. No, we want it to just flow seamlessly, transition right from the content, from the meat of things, to the CTA, and from that CTA to back into the content as well. So we also want to explain why the video itself is not enough. So even though you're giving value through the video, which I hope you are, you should be giving value through the video, that value is just a small part of the bigger problem, right? It's about implementation. Now, I'm providing this value to you of how you can grow your YouTube channel, how to create it into a lead acquisition system, machine. But each channel is different, right? You probably have a different niche than somebody else that's selling books, that's selling a course on how to, I don't know, mow a lawn, anything like that. All channels are different. So I'm selling the implementation and how we can tailor it to your needs. Right now, I'm just making this very broad. This could be a lot more detailed, but that is part of the service that I'm providing. It's like, if you want tailored content, or if you want not tailored content, if you want tailored help, then you need to buy the service. So you also want to promise tangible value. It's like, hey, you're going to get this, and that. You could throw in guarantees. You can throw in, I want to be very light when I say testimonials, because you don't want to be like, here's a testimonial, I got this person. It needs to be like, where do I say this? It needs to be, keep it under 10 seconds, right? It does not need to be long. It should not be long. It should not be longer than your hook. If it's like longer than your hook, then that's really not good. You need it to be like half, because people are willing to listen to your hook to see what you'll provide to them. They don't want to hear what you have to say that they can give to you. Nobody wants to hear that. They just want to take all the good with them. So you want to make your CTA as short as humanly possible, following this framework though. Without following this framework, your CTA is just going to fall apart. You want to make sure you're targeting all three. So 1, 2, 3, that's a horrible 3. But yeah, you want to follow that as well. The difference between a video with 10K views and 0 leads versus one with 1K views and 50 leads is entirely structured on the CTA, right? Without a good CTA, you're pretty much just creating entertainment for free at that point. So if you skip this, you create your thumbnail, you create your hook, it's really good. You create, your stories are fantastic. But if you just, let's say, don't have a CTA at all, then again, you're creating entertainment practically for free, or value for free, which is great. If you want to create that kind of long game, that kind of slingshot effect of where you're stretching out, and releasing. But ultimately, what I find best is, mini shots. You can do a lot more damage with a few mini shots than one crazy long release of what's that called? What's this? A slingshot. There we go. So most CTAs fail because they're just thrown in at the end. And oh my gosh. So there's 2 bad things to this. So, firstly is the one here, link in the description. You don't want to just say link in the description. I don't know which link. You have 20 links in there. So you want to connect it to the lesson, first of all. Yeah, you want to connect it to the lesson. Explain why the video is not enough and promise tangible value. Please follow this 3-part framework. It'll get you so many leads. The other thing is, you don't want your CTA to be at the end. You want it to be somewhere near the middle. So for example, let's say you have a, 5 steps, 5 trends I found in this niche or something. I have 5 trends. So you want to probably put that at 3 or 4. The reason for 3 or 4 is because you still have a lot more value to give, but you've already given enough to where they're willing to listen to that CTA. So that's very key. You don't want it towards the end, because if you do it towards the last 10 seconds, people are likely to just drop off. Again, they just want to be fed. They don't want to give back. So that's what we want to restrict. It's like, hey, okay, we understand, but you need to watch this part so that way we can get more into the value. And you also want to demonstrate why they should do so, why they should even go into step 4 or 5, because step 4 and 5 are the most important steps of the whole journey. But that's something else entirely. So you want to make it feel like the obvious next move, your call to action, and mention what makes your offer different. So again, you can mention, your value stack, your guarantee. Just please make it under 10 to 15 seconds max. So once we do that, we create trust and consistent inbound leads. Now, let me show you a great example of a call to action. So you can generate your first leads, which is great. But let me be honest, scaling from a few leads to a flood of qualified prospects requires the complete strategy. So you click here for the complete 2026 YouTube client acquisition playbook to turn your YouTube into the most profitable channel yet.